So I found this Tumblr page with incredible art and I was like, wow, I gotta find out what this is from. So I looked it up and found absolutely fucking nothing. Seriously, the only thing that exists about this game is the itch page with the rulebook and the DeviantArt post by the person who made it. And even the Tumblr has like no engagement, so...
It's a black hole and I keep sinking further like I'm drifting off into space.
First things first, let's go over how to build a shiver. To start, pick units that add up to a max of 100 points. Mechs cost 50, veterans cost 40, bulls cost 30, and pups cost 10. Now that you have your units, time to pick weapons and gear. Every unit has a certain amount of supply points to spend, and weapons can be one or two-handed. So for example, a bull has 4 supply points, so it could have a one-handed slug gun and a one-handed melee weapon, with 2 points left over for equipment, or a two-handed slug gun and 3 points left over for equipment. It's worth mentioning that mechs have a special rule where they can use two-handed weapons in one hand. How the weapons actually work will be relevant later, but while we're here, I want to mention the weapons in this game that stand out, to say the least. The cover gun. Shoot it, and it spawns a wall for 1 turn. The staple gun. It has 1 inch of range and does no damage, but if you hit someone with it, they can't move for the next round. Which means this is a weapon where you walk up to somebody and staple their feet to the floor. The talking stick. Hit someone with it, and they lose an action point during the next round. And a boop on the snoot. That's literally in the rulebook. And finally, the transporter gun. Shoot someone, and they teleport 7 inches away from where they were a second ago. Also, the missile launcher is complete game-ruining levels of broken, so I recommend either not playing with it at all or nerfing the AP and damage. Okay, so now we have our shiver. How do we play? There's no physical version of the game at the moment, so you'll need to download and play it on Tabletop Simulator. It has a map, minis, and the rulebook all in one place. The gameplay itself is pretty similar to 40k Kill Team, so a lot of this will probably sound familiar. Also, if any rules are unclear, just do whatever's the most fun. Again, literally in the rulebook. You and your opponent roll a die, and whoever rolls the highest number wins and gets to pick what side of the map they want. Each player takes turns placing scrap, starting with the person who won the roll-off. The goal of the game is to pick up these pieces of scrap and bring them back to your home edge. So keep alternating until there's 6 pieces on the board. Now alternate placing units 6 inches away from your home edge. Every unit has a certain amount of action points that they can spend on either moving, picking up scrap, or attacking. Movement is straightforward. Speed is 5, can move 5 inches. Units can hop over objects that are 1 inch tall with no penalties. And if they enter slowing terrain at any point, which I think is supposed to be these brush swamp things, their movement is cut in half, and you round up. Also, there's nothing to climb on this map, so we'll just skip over that. A unit can spend an action point to pick up scrap. While a unit is carrying scrap, their movement is reduced by 2. And as mentioned before, you have to get it back to your home edge to score points. Okay, now the fun part. Let's say this bull wants to shoot this pup with a one-handed slug gun. First, look at the range. The pup is 6 inches away, and the slug gun's range is 9 inches, so we can shoot it. Now, to see if you hit, roll the number of attack dice your weapon has. Any of them that roll lower than the bull's range attack stat are hits. Now the pup will roll the hits to block with its armor. Any dice that roll below the pup's armor stat do no damage. Also, if they're behind a wall, add 1 to their armor stat. So 1 shot goes to the armor and deals 3 damage to the pup. Melee weapons work the same way, it's just that models have to be base to base, and you try to roll under the melee attack stat instead. Also, if you are base to base with someone, you can only use melee weapons, so no point blanking people with an anti-meat rifle. Special rules weapons can have include armor piercing. Subtract the amount from the defender's armor stat for that attack. Critical. Rolling a 1 makes that dice a critical hit, and does the crit damage instead of the base number. Blast. If the attack hits, apply the hits to every unit in the radius. Recoil. When a unit shoots this gun, they fly back the specified number of inches. Push. When you shoot somebody, they fly back the specified number of inches. Heavy. You can't shoot if you moved that turn. Now you and your opponent take turns picking a unit and spending all of its action points. Go back and forth until all the units have moved, and that's the end of the round. The person with the most scrap at the end of 5 rounds wins. Also, if you want to get a campaign thing going, there's injuries, where your sharks get debuffs based on how hurt they got in the last game, and honor, where your sharks get buffs based on how well they did in the last game. Okay, video getting too long, bye.